Welcome to the vast ocean world off the coast of Australia, where giant fishing boats conquer the sea day and night. Not everyone knows that under the deep blue water is a huge treasure trove of seafood that humans are making the most of. On today's journey, we will follow the Australian fishermen, the silent heroes of the sea, to discover how they catch hundreds of tons of fish every day with bottom trawls, earning shipments worth millions of dollars, and even on the boat. They do not rest as they embark on the professional, meticulous and urgent fish processing process. It is not yet dawn, but the fishing port is already lit up. The crew members board the boat one by one, carrying with them the hope of a bountiful day. The large boat begins to leave the dock, gliding through the thick morning mist. Far out at sea, the air is quiet, with only the sound of the waves lapping and the sound of the boat's engine roaring. Each trip to sea usually lasts several days. Sometimes even a week, depending on the desired yield and the weather. After many hours of cruising, the ship arrives at the familiar fishing area, where there is an abundance of bottom fish. The fish live in the deep, where the seabed is cold and dark, and is a source of high economic value for fishermen. At this moment, the entire crew begins to get into position. One side controls the radar and sonar to detect the fish school. The other side prepares to lower the net. A giant bottom trawl hundreds of meters long, anchored by a heavy lead system to drag close to the seabed. When all the equipment is in place, the net begins to be lowered into the sea slowly and in a controlled manner. That is the moment all hopes are placed on, because just one successful net can bring in hundreds of tons of yield. The net is pulled for several hours, usually 3 to 6 hours depending on the terrain and the school of fish. The net goes in a large circle on the bottom, gathering the fish into the mouth of the net and gradually narrowing. When the sonar signal indicates that the net is full, the sailors begin to pull the net up. A huge mass of water shakes as the net gradually rises to the surface of the sea, and when the mouth of the net opens, thousands of fish thrash, splashing seawater all over the deck. It is the moment every fisherman looks forward to, the feeling of victory. As if having just overcome a tense battle with nature, the amount of fish caught in each batch can reach tens of tons, even hundreds of tons during peak seasons. The main fish are usually hoki, cod, red snapper, grenadier and many other white fish species, which have high economic value in the international market. As soon as the fish are pulled up, the conveyor belt system starts operating. The fish are transferred directly to the sorting area, where dozens of workers work continuously on a modern line. On board, the space is divided into functional areas: the fresh fish receiving area, the processing area, the freezing area, all operate smoothly like a mobile factory. After being brought onto the deck, the fish will be classified by size and type. Fish that meet export standards will be moved to the gutting stage, cleaned, washed with salt water and quickly frozen. This process takes less than 30 minutes to maintain maximum freshness. For small or substandard fish, they are used as other processing ingredients such as canned fish, fish meal or animal feed. Every day, on such a ship, hundreds of tons of fish can be processed and frozen. The modern cold storage system in the hold keeps the fish at -40°C. Ready for the journey to the mainland. All products are labeled with traceability codes, from the location of the catch. The time of netting, to the worker responsible for preliminary processing, ensuring strict export standards of Australia and the international market. Looking at the fish being cleaned, neatly packed and arranged in batches in the freezer, you can see the effort and professionalism of the fishing team. They are not only net pullers, but also technicians, processing workers, and even production managers at sea. On board, every activity has a specific schedule and clear division of labor. Food, rest, shifts, all are carefully calculated to ensure work efficiency and health for the entire crew. Working offshore is arduous. The sea is not like land. The weather can change in just a few minutes. A big storm can cause the whole ship to rock. Cold, wet, big waves, loneliness in the middle of the ocean, that is the price to pay for a life at sea. But for many Australian fishermen, this is a source of pride. They understand that what they do is feeding millions of people, contributing to the national economy with their own honest hands. Fishing in Australia is lucrative. A seasoned sailor can earn between $100 and $150 a year. On the big boats, profits can reach several $million per trip. However, behind those numbers are hours of tireless work, team spirit, and a deep connection to the sea. Each fishing trip typically lasts 5 to 10 days. When the boat is full, they return to land. The frozen fish boxes are brought ashore by crane. Immediately transferred to factories or staging areas for distribution around the world. Some are exported to Europe, Asia. The other part is supplied to the domestic market of Australia, famous for its high-quality white fish. The cycle continues. The ship docks for a few days for maintenance, refueling, replenishing food, then sets sail again. It is a lively and fierce cycle, but also the pride of Australia, a true maritime nation. Through this journey, we can see the complexity and scale of the modern fishing industry. It is no longer a single small boat, but a huge ecosystem with advanced technology, strict control processes and high-quality human resources, in which fishermen are the center, the soul of the sea, the people who turn the waves and wind into white gold. If one day you have the opportunity to enjoy a pure white fish fillet on your dining table, remember, behind that delicacy are the sweat, tears and dedication of the workers in the middle of the ocean. They are the silent heroes, who trade their safety and time with their families every day to bring back precious products from the ocean. And when the last batch of fish is pulled up, it is also the time for the crew to prepare for another equally important task, catching crabs with cage traps. A method that requires both perseverance and a deep understanding of the habits of this crustacean. If fishing depends on pulling power and technology, catching crabs is a game of time, precision and many years of experience. On the deck, hundreds of sturdy iron cages have been prepared since the ship left port. Each cage is large, designed in a cylindrical or square shape, with fresh bait inside, usually fish heads, fish bones or squid, whose fishy smell attracts crabs from afar. The cages are connected to long ropes and marker buoys. then dropped to the seabed one by one along a fixed route marked by GPS. Some days, the crew will drop more than 1.000 cages, stretching dozens of nautical miles in the middle of the ocean. Crabs, especially king crabs and snow crabs, are cold-bottom dwellers. Where there is high pressure and eternal darkness, the traps must remain on the seabed for hours, sometimes days, to give the crabs time to find their way in. This is not a job for the impatient. The captain must time his return to each trap precisely, so that he can catch the crabs that have already entered but have not yet found their way out. When it is time to collect the cages, the crew begins to pull the ropes. Each heavy cage is hoisted onto the deck by crane. The moment the cages emerge from the water, everyone holds their breath. If there are big, healthy crabs inside, everyone bursts into cheers. Some cages yield 10 to 15 king crabs, each weighing 5 to 7 kilograms, worth hundreds of dollars. But sometimes the cages are empty or there are only a few small ones. That's when the fishermen are forced to change the bait and release them again. Starting the long wait again. After being pulled up, the crabs are quickly sorted on board. Those that meet the size and weight standards will be kept alive in cold water tanks with circulating oxygen, ensuring maximum freshness when they reach the mainland. Those that are too small, not yet ready to be exploited or are carrying eggs, will be released back into the sea, part of the Sustainable Resource Protection regulations that Australian fishermen always strictly adhere to. The work of collecting the traps lasts for hours, often from morning until late at night. The sailors have to work continuously, in cold weather, strong winds and big waves. There are stormy days when the traps are swept away, the ropes break, and the whole day's effort becomes nothing. But the fishermen persevere, because they understand that each batch of crabs caught in the cage is not only income, but also a worthy reward for the patience and skills of the seafarers. Unlike fishing, crabs are not gutted or processed on board. Instead, they are kept alive, carefully cared for, and when the ship docks, they are transported directly to purchasing stations, which have modern processing lines. From there, the crabs are transported by air to all over the world, from high-end restaurants in Tokyo and Hong Kong to major wholesale markets in the US and Europe. Australian crabs, with their firm, sweet, rich meat, are always among the most sought-after high-end seafoods globally. And behind each delicious crab is the sweat and hardship of the fishermen. They not only face harsh weather, but also homesickness, loneliness in the middle of the ocean and constant financial pressure. But because of their love for the job, for the future of their families, for their pride in the sea, they continue to stick to the sea, day after day, as a sacred mission. From fish to crabs, from nets to traps, every fishing method is a crystallization of intelligence, experience and tenacious work ethic. Australia's seafood industry is not only a multi-billion-dollar industry, but also a symbol of human resilience, creativity and the desire to conquer nature. When the last cages were collected, when the last crabs were released into the deep cold tank in the hold, the crew returned to the familiar rhythm of the ocean, because the journey to make a living in the middle of the ocean never stopped. The vast ocean not only gave crabs but also contained millions of fish moving along each current. And once again, the giant machine of bottom trawling was started. On the deck, the fishermen began to check the entire equipment system. Cable coils as big as an adult's arm were neatly wound on the reel. The net system weighing tons was straightened out, checking each joint, each lead ring, each wheel rolling on the bottom. This was no longer a time to rest, but a time of high concentration to ensure a precise, effective and absolutely safe catch. The fishing boat gradually accelerated, gliding towards the deep water, where the radar showed a dense density of fish. The scene when the net is dropped is truly impressive. Slowly, each part of the giant net is lowered, drifting along the ship's hull, sinking deeper and deeper to the seabed. Behind, the mechanical arms work rhythmically, like silent workers in the middle of the ocean. Pushing the net away, forming a giant funnel suspended in the water, waiting for the fish to be caught. The ship moves along a predetermined route. The GPS positioning system, sonar and modern sensors help fishermen determine the exact location of the fish, the depth, the direction of movement and the density. The entire crew waits anxiously, as if waiting for a ripe harvest. After a few hours, when the signal shows that the net is full of fish, the engine slows down, the cable is gradually retracted, and the net begins to be pulled back to the deck. Each meter of net is rolled up, carrying the joyful cheers of the fishermen when they see layers of white, red and orange fish piled up in the net. Sometimes it is cod, Australian amberjack, snapper, hoki. Each species has its own unique characteristics, but all are precious gifts from the sea. Each net can collect 50 to 100 tons of fish. Enough to fill the entire freezer compartment in just one morning if the weather is favorable and the fish school is located correctly. Immediately after the fish are brought to the deck, dozens of sailors rush into the rapid processing process. Some sort the fish by size, some gut them, remove the organs, some clean them, some transfer them straight to the freezer. Each person has a position, working like a miniature industrial chain in the middle of the ocean. Within a few minutes, the fish are cleaned, packed in trays, and put into deep freeze storage, ready for the journey to domestic and international markets. This work is repeated every day, every night. When the sun rises, the ship turns the waves to find a new school of fish. When night falls, the lights on the deck still shine brightly, shining down on the deep black sea like a lighthouse in the lonely darkness. The fishermen, wind and dew blowing on their faces, hands calloused by the line and the fish, still smile optimistically, because they know that every moment here is in exchange for the future, for their families and for the entire fishing industry of their country. In the middle of the vast deck, where the strong sea breeze blows, the fishermen still work tirelessly, Each person takes on a separate stage in the fish processing chain, from cutting fins, removing organs, to cleaning, classifying and putting them in deep freeze tanks. This harmonious coordination is not accidental, but the result of years of experience, of days of drifting on the waves. So that now, just by looking at each other's eyes, they understand what the other needs. Once the fish has been processed, each tray of white, smooth fish meat is transferred to the deep freeze compartment of the ship, where the temperature is maintained at -50 degrees Celsius. This modern preservation system is equipped to keep the fish fresh as soon as it leaves the sea. With super-fast freezing technology, the fish meat does not break down, does not change color or lose nutrients, ensuring it meets export standards to the most demanding markets such as Japan, Europe and the US. No one says it, but everyone understands that a fish leaving the deck in a fresh state is also a small victory, a victory of effort, of honest labor, and of a traditional profession that is increasingly modernizing. On board, in addition to the processing area and cold storage, there is also a control room, where the captain and the operating engineer continuously monitor important parameters, ship speed, net depth, fish school coordinates, and even weather data. The sonar, digital map, and radar screens are updated every second, like a pair of magical eyes that help the ship fish more effectively, stay away from dangerous areas, and optimize operating time. Although technology has helped a lot, the difficulties and dangers of the sea are always present. A sudden storm can cause